guys, good morning. Oh, today is a very exciting day. It is episode 1 of the wedding series. I'm doing my first wedding-y stuff today, which honestly feels so surreal. The concept of like actually starting to plan my actual wedding feels very bizarre. But anyway, we're doing a few wedding-y things today. Very excitingly, in literally 10 minutes. I think it's like 20 past 10 right now. What time is it? 10:15. In 15 minutes, we've got our first call with our first like prospective wedding planner. So I'll try and film some of that. I honestly have no idea how that's gonna go. I feel like it's literally just an introductory call. I'm just gonna try and get some main information out of them, like time of year that I think we want to get married, but is that actually the right time of year to get married in South Africa? How early do we need to find a venue? When do dates book up? I don't know. I need to make a list of questions in the next 15 minutes that I can try and just get some of those in there. But I know it's the first introductory call, so we'll see how that goes. And then we're also going a little bit later to get my ring resized. It's almost perfect, but I think it is a tiny bit big, and especially because we're in summer right now, the more that I've been doing things with it and I've just been using it over the last month, we're gonna go, and Cameron paid for the option that was like unlimited resizes or whatever, which is great. So got a cute little like date night evening planned in London today. The shop where he got it from is in Marylebone. I think it was Marylebone that he said. So we're going up there. We've got somewhere booked for dinner, which I actually love. It's one of my favorite London restaurants, so I'll take you there and show you that as well. Cameron's actually never been. So we're gonna go get some lovely food. We're gonna go back to the shop where he got my ring from and try on some other sizes and find one that's the right size. I don't know what that means. That probably means I'm gonna have to say goodbye to my ring for a bit while they resize it, which is such a sad thought. I'm like, no, I'm used to it now. I don't want to part from it at all. But anyway, we'll see what they say. But for now, I need to get myself ready for this call. And I saw my mum at the weekend and she got me a little wedding planning book. Let me show you, it's so nice. Right, let me show you. Carry my book with me everywhere. I need to get my laptop ready for the call. And this is the planner that mum got me. And isn't it so pretty? It's so nice of her, honestly. So I'm gonna try and document all of this. She was like, I know you'll probably have spreadsheets and things like that, but this way, if you write it down, you'll have something to kind of remember it all by. And there are so many things in here, like getting started, the guests and stationery, the venue, attire and accessories. After the wedding, this is such a cool one. There's like an actual checklist that's like all the things you should do once the wedding is over to just kind of wrap it all up. And let me just show you a few sections in here. But it's so cool, like, so you can kind of map out different color schemes. But right, there was the table. Like different options for table settings, and it kind of talks to you about like what traditionally would happen and then just different options that you can explore. And then there was also stuff for attire, so like what type of thing do you want the groom to wear? And then there was one for the bride as well, where you can like take all your measurements and put them in here. And again, you can like stick in little pictures for like different dress options. How long do you want the veil to be? Honestly, it's such a sweet book. I'll have to again ask her where she got it from. And then there's loads of like different, oh no, if I can get them out. And then there's loads of different stickers all in the back I can stick on there, like, so I can label things as like wedding admin or dress shopping. And then little labels that say things like pay deposit and pay balance. Honestly, it's so sweet. And then just like fun ones. Maybe I'll put some of these on my Kindle actually. Oh yeah, oh look, this is so cool. So then these are the color scheme option stickers to put in those circles that we just saw. Anyway, it's such a sweet book. If there are any other brides out there that have just got engaged, or anybody that knows somebody that thinks this would be a sweet gift for, I'll ask my mum and I'll pop the link to this in the description box. But anyway, right, I probably have even less time now. 20 past, right, okay, I've officially got 10 minutes. So I'm gonna prep for this call, think of some questions, and I bet, to be honest, there's a section in here that is about, oh my gosh, look, I haven't even read this properly yet. I've literally, all the things you need to do at each of the months before the wedding. I love that. I love that so much. Oh. And then I can actually mark in here, once we've like chosen a date, when it's gonna be. Oh, wedding mood board. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna stop because I could literally go through this endlessly. Oh yeah, and then budget. I probably will do the budget in a spreadsheet, to be honest, but so cool. Anyway, first official call, conversation, anything about the wedding. Let's do it. exciting day because today we're making more progress with the wedding planning stuff. I feel like I need to catch you up on exactly where we're at. We are in the middle of July. I've no idea when this video is going to go up, by the way, because I think we need to like get some stuff done in this video series before I can share it with you. So we're now in the middle of July, and today we've got a second call with one of the wedding planners that we quite like. First of all, I think it's unbelievable how I am one of those girls who has always like dreamt of her wedding, who's always planned like colour schemes and had mood boards and had Pinterest boards and had all these things of like what she imagined her wedding day would be like, but how like delusional I was, or just how clueless I was. I suppose delusional is probably a bit harsh because I hadn't ever even thought about it, how complex the organisation process is. Like, I know everybody says that, but there's just so much. I feel like wedding planning is one of those things where I'm like, I don't know what I don't know. That's what makes it hard, because I'm like, oh, well, I wouldn't even know to have thought about that when somebody points it out. So I was like, I could never have even tried to organise that because it would have never have occurred to me. Anyway, so we're looking for a wedding planner. We definitely want one. We are, I'd say 90% sure, maybe 95% sure that we're going to get married in South Africa. The only thing that would change our mind is if we are going to try and plan a trip there to go and look at some wedding venues, which will be so fun to vlog. I'm so excited to do that. But if we go there and then we actually feel like, you know what, the stars just are not aligning, then we'll change course. Oh, it sounds like Cameron is back from his run. So anyway, because we're going to do it in South Africa, we definitely need a planner. There's just no way I'd know how to get hold of like all the different vendors in South Africa, and we're pretty sure that we want to do it in the Cape Town region. So step one is us finding a planner. The groom.
That was hard.
Is that hard?
Yeah.
Well done. Poor Cameron, he's tired after his run. As I was saying, sorry this is so chaotic. So we definitely need a planner. We've had a couple of conversations with a few different planners so far, and it's so interesting how different planners all offer very different things. And for me, like one of the most important things about the planner that we choose is going to be just like really vibing with them, because I just can't imagine planning like the happiest day of your life, hopefully, probably, or just planning something so exciting like a wedding and having just like an average relationship with like basically the third player in the game. Like it's going to be me, Cameron, and this person all planning like our collective wedding together. So you really want them to feel like a friend. Well, that's what I'm looking for anyway. So we're currently stuck between two planners. So we've got a follow-up conversation, our first follow-up conversation with one of the first people that we spoke to that we really liked today, very soon actually. So I'm gonna go and like make myself look a little bit more presentable, get out my dressing gown when we speak to them. And I've started to make a list of some questions that we need to ask them. So I've got my trusty wedding planner book. So the first couple of calls, we basically just covered like what they do, what their style is. I went through some examples of other weddings that they had done, so we could kind of see some of their work. But I think the main questions we've got now are, Cameron and I have had a more detailed conversation about budget, and we have lowered our budget slightly because I think we've decided that the costs will creep up and there's always extra stuff that's going to come into it. Like for example, I know that I really want to contribute to planning my hen do, and if I can at all help it, I want to alleviate the costs of my bridesmaids as much as possible, because I just know how expensive wedding season can be. And if I can pay for their dresses and if I can pay for the hen do, then I'd like to do that. So Cameron and I are lowering our budget for the day. So I want to go back to the wedding planners, because a lot of them have like minimum budgets that they'll work to, and basically say, if I give you this budget, do you think you can still create like a beautiful wedding with this budget that you're happy to do? Because they might just say that's a bit too low for us, which is fine, we can then move on. So I want to have like a more brutal conversation about budget with the planners, and then the second topic that I want to talk to them about is a more detailed conversation on how do you involve me as the bride and Cameron as the groom in the planning process. Obviously we are remote, so do we have a WhatsApp chat? Is there like a Google Drive doc where we like collaborate on the stuff that goes on there? Obviously there's so much information that Cameron and I will have to provide, and all my knowledge of planning weddings is from like American movies, to be honest. Do I choose things? I feel like it's always a scene of like, what napkins do you choose? Like, is it eggshell or is it cream or whatever? Do I choose those types of things? Or if you have a planner, so we're kind of looking at like a planner slash designer. If we've got a designer, am I really handing over all creative control, or like how much say do I have, and how much does that interrupt your creative process versus How much do you invite that? Like, I don't want to be a bridezilla, but I obviously do want to have my opinions. Anyway, so those are all the questions we want to kind of go through today. And then depending on the answer that we get from this one, I think this planner is my first choice. But I have a feeling the other planner could be Cameron's first choice. Or maybe he's not really sure. I think he's on the fence. I want to ask the creative person the structured questions, and I want to ask the structured person the creative questions, and then see where we get to. Anyway, that was a very long ramble. I need to go get ready. I'm hoping that by the end of this week, we're going to have a planner sorted, because as soon as we've got a planner sorted, then we can start looking at venues, and I can start showing you some of the ones that we're thinking about, and then we can start planning a trip to actually get out there and look at the venues. Anyway, first up, next conversation with planners. Let's do it. Give me a drink. In fact, I might even put some ice in here because there's only a little bit left in this bottle, and that's all I'm going to have because it is a Tuesday, which is very against the rules in my world. Ice, ice, ice. I think my parents would kill me if they saw me putting ice in my wine, but I'm one of those women. What can I say? Did I mention my brain is so scrambled today? It's also 30 degrees today. 30 degrees. It's so warm. Summer is here. We've had a consistent few days now of like proper heat, and it just keeps climbing. Apparently tomorrow's going to be 33, which is wild. So that probably also contributes to like a slightly sweaty, disheveled feeling. Anyway, right, wedding stuff. It is now the 30th of July. We had set a target for ourselves to find a wedding planner by the end of July. We have failed because we're not going to found one in the next 24 hours. The good news is that every planner we've spoken to is honestly fantastic. 3 over the phone, like had proper Zoom meetings with 3 of them. And we've had like a couple of emails back and forth with some others, but we just decided they were just out of our budget or just not right fit for us. So I feel like we've done a good hunt around, but the whole wedding planning process is mad. It's so crazy to me. It's not like any experience I've had before, which I suppose makes a lot of sense. But I think it's such an interesting test of a couple on how they talk about money and how you plan your future together and how you plan how you want to celebrate the two of you being unified. So far, Cameron and I are having so much, well, fun is a weird word to describe because like we're having so much fun doing it, but the conversations we're having are like hard conversations. So I should probably also add that when we say we want to have our wedding planner finalized, in our minds, we're finalizing the wedding planner and our budget like at the same time. So a lot of the wedding planners that we're finding, not all of them, have a fixed fee, but also have a fixed fee, sorry, as a minimum, but why can't I describe this right? They've got a fixed rate, they've got a fixed minimum rate, but they will also take, they have a fixed, how many times can I try and say this? They have a fixed minimum rate or 10% of the total wedding cost if your wedding costs more than 10% of their fixed minimum rate, if that makes any sense. So that means that as your wedding budget grows, so does the cost of your planner. So you have to be able to factor in additional money to pay your planner as the cost of your wedding grow. Now, something about that feels slightly off to me because it just feels like our priorities or our incentives aren't entirely aligned because, of course, they probably want the wedding to cost more money so that then they'll get a higher fee, whereas I want my wedding to cost less. So that feels slightly misaligned, but equally the ones that we've spoken to have honestly been so generous with their time, generous with their expertise, generous with their advice, and they've all been saying whether you pick us or not, like, these are things that we really recommend. Here are some venues we think you'd love based on what you've described to us. Like, they've honestly all been lovely. So when it comes to choosing a planner, we've got a couple more conversations this week. It's Tuesday today, as I've said. We've got a couple more conversations this week, and then at the weekend, Cameron and I are gonna make our final decision. There's so many things that we're considering. One is fee. It just doesn't seem to be as simple as to go for the cheapest one or the most expensive one, because it's also whether you really click with your planner and do we have a vibe where we really want to be friends with our planner over the next however long. Do we want to build like a really strong personal relationship, or do we just want to have somebody that's going to be really organized, really practical, really logical, or do we want somebody that's going to be like super creative and come up with all these really unique ideas, Or do we want somebody that's like lived in the area for like 25 years and has all of this knowledge of all the suppliers? Obviously, ideally you want all of those things together, but obviously different planners have different strengths in different areas. So that's a whole minefield. But the thing about the planners, I do feel confident that literally whoever we choose will be amazing. I've been so impressed by how wonderful everyone has been that we've spoken to so far. The much harder thing has been the budget. And it's so interesting having really difficult budget conversations in a relationship around something like a wedding, because when it came to the house, it was relatively easy for us to make pretty big sacrifices, or to both of us, like building a home and having a home that we owned was so special and so important, and we wanted it to be somewhere that we could have children in when that time came for us, and we could start our family here. So that was kind of like a no-brainer, and you live in it for years and years. It's not just one day. Whereas a wedding is just one day. And I've always wanted like a princess fairy tale wedding, and to be honest, I fully intend on having that. But it starts to get really interesting when you start to have conversations as a couple around what you're willing to sacrifice to have that. So Cameron and I have been having conversations like, well, do we want to put a little bit more money into the wedding so that we can have X on the day, but not go on holiday next year? Or do we want to sacrifice, sorry, we hear the airplane overhead. Or like, do we want to sacrifice going out for dinners for the next year or however long and not go on as many date nights? But then you start thinking, is it really worth one day to start impacting the day-to-day luxuries of our lives? Or is it a wedding, so it's 100% worth doing those things? I just think it's so nuanced and so personal to probably each individual and each couple what a wedding is worth. Like, do we just go for something that's like comfortably within our budget, we've got the savings, we don't need to save up extra to do that? Or is it a proper scrape and we like dig at the bottom of the barrel for the next year so that we can have this incredible party, this once in a lifetime memory? Hopefully you only ever do this once, and you know, we love each other so much, but we love our relationship so much, and we really want to celebrate that, and we totally feel like, what were the chances of us being together, of ever meeting each other and finding each other, and we really want to make a big fuss out of how cool that is. Anyway, it's so interesting. I don't know entirely why I rambled on about that for so long, but I don't know whether any of that, I guess those of you that have already planned a wedding, you already knew that, but I had not seen anybody online, or I've never watched anybody that's done like a wedding series where they've really talked about some of those conversations that you need to have. And that for us, as it stands, it has taken us a month, or it will have taken us a month to agree a budget and a planner. We probably started this process a little bit into July, but I think by the time we've made our decision, which let's give us another week to have agreed our budget and agreed our planner, it's going to have taken us a full month to agree those things. And I don't know if I had an expectation of how long it would take, but I was definitely slightly naive to the duration of how long some of this upfront stuff really took. And I think that it should mean really positive things for us for the rest of the like wedding planning journey, because we've basically both agreed that we want to have a budget and then basically be like, now let's just have fun spending all that money. And it's so much money, it's unbelievable to me. But anyway, let's just have fun spending all that money and not then worry about it. And it just means that when it comes to me like trying on dresses, for example, I know how much my budget is, I can't go over. And it means that when I'm in the shops, I won't feel this like, oh, can I afford this? Can't I afford it? Can I afford it? Can't I afford it? And like getting all emotionally invested in things I can't afford. I'll just be like, I want to see dresses that are this much or less. Like, let's just have the best time, drink Prosecco, and like try all these things on. So I'm really hoping it's gonna like pay dividends for us in the long run. But boy, it's been a lot of like, oh gosh, should we sit down and look at the spreadsheet again? Anyway, honestly, we're loving the process so far. Like, we are planners and organisers. I'm not much of a spreadsheet gal. I'm more of like a Pinterest board kind of chick. But Cameron loves the spreadsheet, and I feel like between the two of us, we'll get this whole thing locked down. Anyway, so next time I speak to you, I've got one more call on Thursday and then a final one on Friday. So hopefully I will next speak to you either on Friday or maybe on Saturday if Cameron and I need some time to really digest. But by Monday next week, which I think is the 2nd of August, is that right? I don't have my phone on me. By Monday next week, we will have decided a planner and a budget, and then it's gonna be systems go, guys. Then I'm gonna be able to actually post this video that you're now watching, and we're gonna be able to start proposing to our bridesmaids and wedding dress trying on and deciding the theme and the style and the decor, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Then like the fun stuff can kick in. For now, cheers. I hope it's as sunny for you today as it is for me today, because it is delightful. Hi, it is now several months later. We're fully into autumn. It's November, and I'm so sorry that I haven't had an update in all this time. I feel like this first vlog is just very admin heavy, and this time, this early wedding planning time between Cameron and I, it's just a lot of like relatively boring conversations, and like not a lot of the fun stuff has really kicked off yet. So I didn't have loads to update you, but I do now. So I'm so excited. Okay, right, calm. We have decided on our planner, we've booked our planner, and I'm so excited to work with her to create hopefully my dream wedding. We've also locked down our budget, which is just like the most satisfying thing to do. We now know how much we need to save each month in order to make sure that we can pay for everything and still live our lives the way that we want to over the next year or however long it is between now and the wedding. So we've got our plan, we've got our budget. Those are like the slightly more boring bits. The more exciting bits are, we've actually put a deposit down on a venue. I know that's bold because we haven't seen it in person. Cameron's parents were able to go to the venue and take a load of videos for us. So was our planner. So I feel confident that we've seen a decent portion of it. We needed to put a deposit down because they don't do that many weddings. They only do 2 weddings a month. And it's just, I think, like the most beautiful, perfect venue. Like I just can't, it has everything we want. It's gonna give us the lovely, like intimate social feel. I want it to feel like all of our favorite people are all going on one big like group holiday together. Like 60 best friends just all together celebrating and having a party and being in the sunshine. And yeah, I just think the venue is perfect. So the fact that we have a venue also means we have a date, which is, I have a wedding date. Like I know when I'm gonna get married. I know the date that for the rest of my life, I'll be like, yeah, that's my wedding anniversary. Like, I feel so shook. There is a very small chance that we won't like it. Like, of course there is, because we haven't actually seen it. We're gonna go in January anyway. My mum's never been to South Africa, so I really want to take her and show her so she can see what it's like, so she can see what Franschhoek is like, which is where the venue is. So it's also so cool. I can actually tell you, we are getting married abroad. We are getting married in Cape Town-ish. We're getting married in Franschhoek, and we found our venue there. We still do want to go and have a look at some other venues in that area. There's a couple in Stellenbosch we kind of want to see, and just general ones in the Cape Town region. We'll go and have a look at them anyway. And we of course want to see our venue anyway. And we took a calculated risk. The deposit was a lot more, but we only lose like £200 if we have to back out because something about it is awful. So we decided that that was worth the risk of, we were basically told by the venue that if we didn't put a deposit down, it was going to go to somebody else and we'd have lost the chance to get married there entirely for the month that we want to do it. So anyway, we've gambled slightly. We've got a venue, we've got a date, we've got a budget, we've got a planner, and now the fun stuff can really begin. So I wanted to talk super briefly just about how I am organising it for any other brides that might be looking to plan their wedding and just want to know what other brides are out there and doing, because it's so hard when you don't have lots of other friends that are doing it as well to know like what's the right way to do it. There probably isn't a right way to do it, but just to get some like inspo and advice. So if you want to know how I'm doing it, currently I've got a Google Drive, which is called Wedding with 4 exclamation marks. And inside the folder, I've basically got different spreadsheets. The ones that I currently have are the, it's like increasing volumes of exclamation marks, depending on how excited or overwhelmed I was when I created that list. So I've got the wedding list, which is our guest list. I've also got a hen do tab where I've got different options that I might want to have for my hen do. And I've got my own wedding expenses sheet because at the moment, Cameron and I's budget doesn't include like my hen do expenses, for example. Also just, it feels like anyway, I'm sure it's not gender based, but at the moment it feels like as a woman, I've just got a lot more expenses, like different shoes that I might want to change into, the jewellery that I want to wear, if I want to have a dress for like the day before or the welcome drinks, you know, I just feel like there's just so many girly things that I would love to be able to do and just play dress up and just have so much fun and really dive into the girlhood dreams that I always had of my wedding. But I also need to be relatively sensible. So I'm creating my own budget of like everything down to like what makeup am I going to have and am I going to be spending, like am I going to be buying over and above? I know some people have like perfume that they want to wear. Am I gonna wear the perfume that I wear all the time, or am I gonna get my own wedding scent? If so, I'm putting everything in the budget. So I've got a realistic view of how much stuff is bridal focused, and then I can whittle that down if I decide that's a bit excessive, or actually I realise I've got more room to play than I thought I did. So I've got my own Ellen's wedding expenses list. We've then got the broader budget sheet. I think I'll have another one that's just all the bridesmaid stuff that I might want to do or get. So that's how I'm doing it at the moment. My plan is to actually transfer it all into Notion, and I'd love to have everything organised in Notion. If I do find a way to put it all in Notion that I like, I'll definitely share that template with you. Then you can use it as well. But I need to work it out because I obviously want to make sure that Cameron can access some of it because it's joint between us. I don't know how you do that on Notion. So that is where we're at for now. I know that this particular vlog, the first episode of the wedding series, has been very admin focused. There's been a lot of just me talking about all the intricacies of the decisions, of all the boring, I guess it's not boring, but the upfront stuff. But I can tell you that the next episode is going to be coming very soon because I've done some of the stuff that's going to be in it. So next episode is probably going to be one of the best, if not the best episode of the wedding series that will ever exist, because in the next wedding series episode, I'm proposing to all my bridesmaids. I would have loved to have shown you some of the clips I've already filmed in this vlog, but there's a couple of bridesmaids I haven't asked yet, and they're all getting a version of the same thing when I ask them. So I don't want to spoil that experience for any of my friends that watch my vlogs that haven't been asked yet, so that's going to have to wait till next episode. And I've also been wedding dress shopping. I've now been a few times, and I think I've chosen the designer that I want to go with, and I've started to pull together some like more specifics of, I think I'm starting to really work out exactly what I want, and it's looking like I'm going to do something bespoke with the designer that I want to work with, and we're going to design my wedding dress together, which I will definitely film that entire process if that is what we choose to do, and probably share it after the wedding so that the dress that I have is a surprise for you as well. Oh, I don't know, there's just so much fun stuff to be done. But next episode is definitely going to be bridesmaid proposals, starting the dress shopping. And I also really want to take you through my Pinterest board. I have got my Pinterest board currently locked, so if you follow me on Pinterest you won't be able to see it, but I'll definitely show you a few sneak peeks of what I think I want my wedding to look like, and then we can all just see if it ends up looking anything like that when the time comes. Anyway, I'm just so excited. Thank you so much for persevering through this first episode, which there's not much stuff that's like actually happened for you to be able to see or experience with me, but that is just the nature of it. And I did debate not even posting this first episode, but this is the true reality, or my true reality, of what it's like planning a wedding, and it's taken a while to get into the really fun stuff. For any other brides out there, this is the journey that we're going on so far. But July, August, September, October, but 4 months later, we're now diving into dress shopping, bridesmaid proposals, hen do planning, Pinterest boarding. Oh, that's the other thing that's going to come in future episodes. We've started to have conversations with potential caterers and just some amazing, amazing chefs. I mean, Cape Town, I think it was voted very recently the best city in the world for food. And I mean, the food there is just insane. So I'm so excited to take you along and show you like what we're thinking for our menus and what particular food choices. I want to have such a good wedding day meal. I don't eat meat, and I always feel like the vegetarian option at a wedding is like the lesser nice of the options. And so I want to have like a seriously fantastic vegetarian wedding day meal. I'm so excited for the food. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling because you have sat through so much of it in this video. I'm so excited to be going on this journey with you. Once in a lifetime experience, and it's so fun that I'm documenting it and we get to chat about it and squeal about it together. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in next week's video, and I will see you in the next episode of the Wedding Diaries, which will hopefully come very, very soon. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having the loveliest week, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye guys.